At 1 a.m., the world is quiet in a way that makes every sound feel too loud. That's when I heard the knock. Not a normal knock, soft, careful, like someone was afraid the door might wake up the whole block. I wasn't expecting anyone. My phone hadn't buzzed. No warning. Just that sound, tapping at my door like a secret. When I opened it, she stood there barefoot, eyes wide, hands shaking. She leaned in close and whispered, "Don't say a word." And in that moment, I knew whatever was happening had already changed both of our lives. Before the story begins, if you enjoy real, emotional stories about kindness and the quiet moments that shape who we become, please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. It helps this channel, your channel name, reach more people who need stories like this. I had known my friend Mark since college. We weren't inseparable, but we were solid. The kind of friendship where you might not talk every day, but when you do, it feels easy. I'd met his younger sister Lily a few times over the years. She was always polite, a little shy, the type who listened more than she spoke. I hadn't seen her in almost a year, so when she showed up at my apartment in the middle of the night, my first thought was that something terrible had happened. She stepped inside quickly, like the hallway itself was chasing her. I closed the door behind her, and she finally looked up at me. Her face was pale, mascara smudged under her eyes. She looked smaller somehow, like the world had pressed down on her too hard. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't know where else to go." I wanted to ask 100 questions, but her earlier words echoed in my head. "Don't say a word." So instead, I nodded and gently pointed to the couch. She sat down, curling her hands together in her lap. I grabbed a blanket and draped it over her shoulders. She flinched at first, then relaxed when she realized what I was doing. For a long minute, neither of us spoke. The clock ticked on the wall. Outside, a car passed, tires hissing on the road. Finally, she exhaled, like she'd been holding her breath for hours. "Thank you for not asking," she said quietly. That was when I understood. Sometimes kindness isn't about fixing things. Sometimes it's about giving someone space to exist without pressure. When she was ready, she told me pieces of the story. Not all at once, just fragments. She'd been staying with someone she trusted, or thought she trusted. The night had gone wrong. Voices raised, doors slammed. Nothing illegal, nothing dramatic enough for a police report, but enough to make her feel unsafe. Enough to make her leave with nothing but her phone and the clothes she had on. "I couldn't go to my brother," she said, staring at the floor. "He'd freak out. He'd make it worse. I didn't tell her she should. I didn't tell her what to do. I just listened. I made tea, even though it was late. Chamomile. It was the only thing I had." She wrapped her hands around the mug like it was a lifeline. As the color returned to her face, I saw how young she really was. Not helpless, just tired, worn down by a night she didn't deserve. "You can stay here," I said simply, "as long as you need." Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry. She just nodded. I set her up on the couch and took the armchair nearby. I told her I'd be right there if she needed anything. She fell asleep almost instantly, the kind of sleep that only comes after pure exhaustion. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept thinking about how close she'd come to having nowhere to go. How many people might have hesitated to open the door at 1 a.m. How easy it is to assume someone else will help. In the morning, I made pancakes. Not because I thought it would fix anything, but because pancakes feel normal, safe. She ate slowly, like she wasn't sure the ground under her feet was solid yet. Later that day, she asked if she could take a shower. I handed her a clean towel and a spare toothbrush. Small things, ordinary things. But she thanked me like I'd given her the world. Over the next few days, she stayed with me. She made calls. She cried once, quietly in the kitchen while staring out the window. I pretended not to notice, but I left a box of tissues on the counter anyway. We talked too, about normal stuff, movies she liked, a job interview she was nervous about, the dog she wanted someday. I didn't pry into the night she left behind. I let her bring it up when she wanted, and she rarely did. One evening she finally said, "I thought being kind meant being big, like rescuing someone, making a dramatic stand." I smiled. "What do you think now?" She looked around my small apartment, the mismatched mugs, the old couch, the quiet. "I think it's this," she said, letting someone be broken without making them explain. A week later, she found a place to stay with a friend from work. She packed her things carefully, folding the borrowed clothes I'd given her. At the door, she stopped and turned to me. "You didn't tell my brother," she said. "You asked me not to," I replied. She nodded. "One day, I will, on my terms. Thank you for giving me that." After she left, my apartment felt too quiet. But it was a good quiet. The kind that tells you something meaningful happened there. A few months later, Mark called me out of the blue. "Lily's doing really well," he said. "She told me everything. She also told me about you." I braced myself, unsure what was coming. He cleared his throat. "Thank you for opening the door." That was it. No speeches, no praise, just gratitude. That night changed how I see kindness. It's not always loud or public. It doesn't always come with recognition. Sometimes it's just a door opened at the right moment and a promise to listen or not listen, depending on what someone needs most. We never know when we might be someone's safe place. We don't have to have all the answers. We just have to be willing to show up. So if someone knocks on your door, literally or in some other way, remember this. Kindness doesn't need permission. It doesn't need perfect timing. It just needs a willing heart. And sometimes, the quietest kindness is the one that changes everything.